Clip. Today, you guys are gonna find out what the new plans for MVS is moving forward into 2019. At the end of, I think, normally we do MVS Captain tournaments on January 30th, but since it's on a Wednesday and I'll be working, that'll be impossible. That'll be very impossible to make. So we're gonna have to do the tournament on the 26th, which is literally next week. So what is something that you guys should be aware of? See, 2019 for MVS is a very important year. It's a very great and important year because next year is our 5th anniversary for MVS. For any clan around the world to even make it to 4 years straight every day doing everything that the division is supposed to do, or the clan or whatever, and it's been a natural fucking success. So I want to congratulate not only MVP but also MVS for making it to where we're at right now. Now, for those who don't know, MVS was founded by one of my greatest students of all time and one of the top 5 greatest underdogs in all of MVP history, Trevor Smith. Trevor is a legend. He doesn't have PS4 due to like other stuff that he's doing right now, but the purpose of MVS and why he created it was a place where not like the MVP's perspective that I created. Like, I created MVP for a place where good and bad players can join and improve in COD, right? Trevor Smith created MVS for so that MVP could be both good at any guns and snipers, right? Hold on. Trevor Smith created this place created this division because he wanted MVP members to not only be good in snipers but any guns, and because so that if we ever got a clan war in sniping, or if we ever had to face a trash talker in sniping, we'll win. So we're not just looked at as a clan that is limited. You know, he wanted us to be looked at as a clan that could do almost everything. At the time, I did not like this idea because I thought it was stupid, because I never liked sniping ever. I didn't really see it as a true 1v1 or anything, but I really had to look past my ego and really think of this and really write down shit to really make it a thing. That's why we got to 4 years. I had to really believe in Trevor's ambition, and I had to believe in a desire of building another MVP, but perfectly. You know what I mean? A lot better than what we did when we built first gen. First gen was built on with 5 guys. That was the foundation. And then later we got like another like 6 more guys, and then that was first gen. You know what I mean? But MVS was different. MVS was much bigger when we started it. It made more sense, you know? Because everybody that was joining in MVP in 5th gen in 2016, which was when MVS was born, on January 30th, everybody in 5th gen lacked skills in any gun. So if they lack all skills in any gun, there's gen versus gen, they knew they were going to lose in any gun, so all they focused on was sniping, right? So naturally, the whole MVS thing worked, and everyone just naturally liked it because now, you know, they're not just facing another guy that they know that they're going to destroy. They're facing another guy that they think that they might beat, because sniping is always 50-50. It's never 70-80. It's always, when it comes to sniping and radar's on, it's 50-50. Even when radar's off, it's still 50-50, just because of the fact that it's a one shot, one kill. So it's all about understanding the spawns and really being ahead of yourself. But anyways, the plans for 2019 is for MVS to really step up the pace, okay? the whoever wins the 4th captain tournament has to not only become a better captain than me, but he or she has to have a goal to be better than me as the 3rd captain in every right, which means that you have to train, you have to build your generation quickly. You got to find at least 15 people in your generation before the end of March, or before the end of March. You have to have at least 15 people in your generation. That's number 1. Number 2 is you got to play with your generation every single day. I do not care if you have school. I do not care if you have work. I do not care if you're on a sports team. I do not care if you have a date that evening. You have to play with your generation every fucking day. You have to have an ambition and a direction of what you want to do tomorrow, and you have to have an ambition and a direction of where you see each member in your generation improving. And this is every day. You can't be playing Call of Duty for like 2 hours and then play Fortnite the whole fucking day. If you're gonna be captain, you gotta really focus on building that gen. If you go play other games, you're not really taking it seriously as it is as a 4-year clan. You're not really taking it serious as something been going on for 4 years. You're just backtracking and thinking that the generation is going to be itself and it's going to build itself, because we're entering in the 4th generation of MVS. It's the 4th year, it's the 4th generation, it's the 4th cap. That's a lot of force. Okay? So this gen has to be at most fucking perfect. And if you're leading this generation, not only do you have to be there for your gen and add them on all the social media so they can talk to you when you're not online, or send you pictures of how much kills they're getting, or if they pass certain requirements of becoming a co-leader itself, but you gotta be you gotta be a leader in every right, and you gotta make them believe in you of MVS. And in all of MVP, you are like the greatest sniper player ever. You would have to, as a member or a co-leader, you would have had to gone undefeated in sniping for at least 2 years to be considered one of the best sniper players in MVP. But you don't really earn that title unless you become captain. So all I'm trying to say is, if you're gonna, the reason the 4th cap has to be absolutely fucking perfect and have a goal of his generation becoming the strongest gen in MVS and beating my gen in March is because my generation as 3rd cap MVS is the strongest right now. We did the MVS gen versus gen with success. We got like over 50 views, and I really enjoyed that event as itself. It was really competitive. It was tough, but as a leader myself and as a competitive player as myself, I'm expecting that my generation, my team, will be the best. If it's the first ever anything, I want Cheesemo's name written all over. I want to be the fucking best. I want to be the greatest. I want to be at the fucking top. I want to put myself ahead of anybody else that was ever captain or whatever, and really cement myself as one of the greatest. That's why my generation won, because I wanted to win more than my generation. And in the MVS history books, MVS itself, 3rd gen is the strongest generation in MVS. Hands down. And I feel proud about that. I feel very proud about that. How the strongest generation MVP is my generation for 5 years, and at MVS, my generation is currently the strongest for a year. If they win this year, they would be the strongest for 2 years. And we will win. But that's not what I'm trying to discuss right now. Whoever becomes the 4th cap at MVS, you have to try to defeat. You have to have something at the back of your head that says, I have to beat Cheesemo's 3rd gen in this event. Because that gen versus gen stimulates that not only am I a better leader than Cheesemo, I can train my team better than Cheesemo, but my team and me can overpower or take over as the strongest generation. So whoever becomes captain and you don't know what the fuck to do, and you don't know what your ambitions are, That's your ambition there. One, becoming the strongest generation, because that means you're a better leader than me, or you're better at training your team than me. And the other thing is all the other competitive events that involves MVS versus MVP. Something in the back of your mind has to say each event that is MVS versus MVP, MVS has to prevail. Last year was more like a tie. I would have to go back through all the events to see who won each event and came out the victor of 2018 when it came to MVS versus MVP. But I think it was a tie throughout that whole year. But this year, there might be new events that I'm going to think of for MVS versus MVP. But if you're going to be captain of MVS, you got to really think about having that competitive instinct. You shouldn't be playing any other fucking game. You should just be trying to build your gen as organized and as good as you can. Because just bringing people into generation isn't considered building it. Because that's like me buying 5 popsicles, but I'm not fucking eating them. What am I doing with these? Why did I buy 5 popsicles and waste my money? And now I'm going to go eat different kinds of popsicles. You guys get what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. If you're going to invest in being leader, then invest in it. Because if you're not going to do any of that, then there's no point of you being fucking 4th cap. You'll get demoted, and the runner-up will be captain. This isn't an era now in MVP as a whole where Cheesemo, the old Cheesemo, the guy who started all this shit when he was 14 years old, is going to be the absolute savior and is always going to be here and ready for action and ready to be the best player I can be. I've already done all that shit. I've done all that shit. This is about you. MVP is going to keep going on because of how I organized it. And MVS is going to continue to go on perfectly because of how Trevor Smith and I organized it. And it's up to you guys to carry on that legacy. It's not like you become captain and you got to keep hearing speeches from me about how to be successful and about what to do, right? If you're a leader, you're a leader. Think of it as you just builded a clan and you're a leader. You're that guy. You're the founder. You just created a clan yourself. You're that guy. What are you going to do? It's the same purpose. I became the 3rd captain of MVS. I was the 3rd. Okay, so what? I'm the 3rd captain. What's better about me than the 2nd? Well, I beat him playing with his gen in gen versus gen. I don't have as much co-leaders as the 2nd cap at MVS. The 2nd cap MVS has the most co-leaders in all of MVS history. I only have 2 co-leaders, Cat Buddy and Tipsy, because everybody else, they haven't really completed the qualification to make co-leader. In MVS, you have to beat a qualification. You have to get, well, this was my qualification. You had to get at least 20 a sniper only. Or the sniper setup for MVS. You do that, and then you beat 2 co-leaders, a co-leader or a captain 2 times in a row to become a co-leader. It's that simple. It's not difficult. It's not hard. But if you are going to become a co-leader, you have to have that mindset to be leader. Be cat. Be here. Like, I could sit down all day and talk about, you know, the new direction, but that's what MVS has to be, and that's what MVS has to do. The 4th cap has to bust his ass just like literally just this whole year just to get MVS as a whole to its 5th anniversary. And the only way that cap is going to lead his generation to do that is if he's here and not playing any other fucking game. And every time when he gets online, it's a purpose, it's a goal to make the best generation compared to the other 3 captains and be the best captain of them all. That's what you got to do. If you're a member joining in 4th gen of MVS, your goals are the same. Become co-leader as fast as possible. Normally, it takes 3 months for someone to become a co-leader. 3 months. Sometimes people do it in 2. But that's the fastest record I've ever seen. Your goal is to become captain. Your goal is to be the absolute best sniper in that entire division. Your goal is to make a name for yourself. Every generation of MVS has been perfect. There's never been no power-hungry people. There's never been somebody that's like, I want to take over MVS. There's never been someone that's like, you know, they're trying to become leader and they just drop the ball. They don't give a fuck. They don't want to do anything. MVS has been absolutely perfect. The first captain was the founder. So obviously he's ambitious about the things he did, and he was trained by me. So obviously he has the mentality of a absolute leader. Not only does he have the skill, not only is he there, but he has that leadership mentality. He knows what to say. He knows how to train. He doesn't need nobody helping him. He's his own man. Trevor Smith. Trevor Smith connected with more people in MVS and MVP because he was classified, if you watched my last clip of how to build a generation in MVP, he was classified as an underdog. He averaged 2 kills and went negative online. Sometimes 1 kill, sometimes no kills. He went from the worst player I've ever seen to play Call of Duty, an absolute god in sniping and any gun. And he didn't just know how to snipe. This man, he knew how to spawn trap people. The whole fucking map of BO2. At BO3, he was still good. But he started to come on like during the second generation of MVS. Every like 6 months, he would show his face. So if he's showing every 6 months, obviously his skills is drastically decreasing, which is why he would lose a match. But if he was playing every single day, there's no way that guy would lose. But before you get into the new, you gotta talk about the old. And the first cap at MVS, he really had that ambition and he knew what MVS was going to be. The second cap at MVS, ex-Savage Boy, he was disorganized. Okay, a majority of 6th gen, or yeah, a majority of 6th gen were in MVS's 2nd gen. And yes, it was similar to 1st gen. You know, they were 1v1ing each other every day. They were getting better. They were passing the qualifications. But ex-Savage Boy wasn't the guy leading them. I was. And I was still first elite of MVS's 1st gen at the time. Ex-Savage wasn't online. And every time when he tried to invite people to play or to get on or to train or to do anything MVS related, like he had the mindset. And he also was an underdog. But it's just they weren't following through with his ideals. They weren't following through with getting online. And that was a disorganized era. We didn't even get one event in because it was so disorganized. And it wasn't mostly the Jed's fault. It was Royal to Loyal's fault. So that whole era as itself, what may have been the most mature generation, may be classified as the mightiest generation of them all because of their natural skill and talent and maturity. But when it came to events and when it came to anything rank related, they were disorganized. And ex-Savage Boy, he was an emotional cap. He cried, you know, he was at the best that he could be. He won the 2nd cap tournament, but it's like he couldn't connect with his gen because he wasn't playing with them. And if you're not playing with your gen consistently, that's going to happen. They're not going to give a shit about MVS or you, and you are going to throw your hands in the air, don't know what to do with MVS because your team has ran out on you. And you don't know what to do, and nothing you do is working. There's no respect. Normally when someone assumes that when you become captain of MVP, everyone's got to worship you and bow down and give you all this praise and everything. That only happens for maybe like a week. After a week, you got to bust your ass. Every day you get online, you gotta show that you're that guy. When you're playing Search and Destroy, everybody's dead. You're that last guy alive. Sniping. That was like Savage Boy. The reason why I became the third captain of MVS, and I'm gonna end the clip right here. The reason I became the third captain of MVS is because of all that disorganization. And I told X Savage on I can't remember if it was May or December that he needs co-leaders. And I made a list of everybody that's in his generation. And I talked to him and I told him, which number do you think all these people go under or classify under? And why do you think that they should be promoted like that? And I told him that you got to message these people directly and tell them. And he did all that. And nearing the end of second gen, X Savage was more online. He had an idea. Everything was organized. He had co-leaders, right? The co-leaders knew who he was. They respected him. As they started to see his skills online, getting like 35 plus kills and 40 kills and stuff like that. And they knew who he was. But that, like, think of that. That's a whole year. And at the end of the year, Savage Boy started to get hot. But at the beginning of the year, in the middle of the year, he was confused. He didn't know what to do. And I, as still a co-leader, had to give him these ideas and tell him what he's got to do. My story is more like it was so disorganized that I had to win that third captain tournament. But I didn't think I was going to win. It was on World War II, and I was training, and I was going through this stage where, you know, can I become the first ever member to be captain in two different divisions, two of the biggest divisions in MVP? Can I do this captain thing again now that I'm a general? But then it all came back to me. I talked to the founder of MVS. I told him all the problems. And I realized who Cheesemo or what Cheesemo has to do. And I became the third captain of MVS. And I brought organization back to MVS. I brought passion. The passion was always there throughout all the years. But if you don't have a good leader, the passion dies. And people just don't give a shit. I burst the passion through the glass ceiling. I made everybody 1v1 in sniping. I made everyone train in sniping. And I was helping out throughout all 3 years. It's not like I wasn't doing anything because I was co-leader. I had to. Every year I have to remind everybody how important MVS is to MVP as a whole. And I build a very good generation when it came to sniping. And we won the gen versus gen. And I am classified, and my gen is classified as one of the strongest generations in MVS. So as fourth captain of MVS, you gotta bust your ass to make this gen the best that it can be. And you have to be here all the time. You can't be playing any other game. You shouldn't be playing any other games unless you have a literally 25 people in your generation, and 10 of those 25 are co-leaders. That's when you know you can play another game for a little and then get back on comp. Because your gen's organized. It has a foundation. It has a purpose. It has a direction. It has authority. And that's when you know that you can win that gen versus gen. So the ultimate goal is to just be here. The new direction for MVS this year is based off of how the events are going to go, and can MVS beat, like, once this year ends, has MVS beat MVP in every single event? Or has MVP demolished MVS? Because when I was third captain and we were doing all these events, I was there in the front lines with my gen. And I think we tied MVP. And the whole, like, all the events that we have facing each other. We tied them. It was 5-5. We won 5 events. They won 5 events. I think it went like that. I think that's how it went. I think we won 5 and they won 5. So if you're the fourth cap at MVS and you won 3 events and MVP won 7 events, then that means you're trash. So I want you to remember that. I had to hold my ground. The second cap at MVS didn't really experience in 2017 an event because no event happened in 2017 when I created all these events in 2017. And the first cap at MVS, what he experienced was Clan Wars. And he was in the front lines with MVS, as was I, as an elite and a member. A lot of fucking Clan Wars. 2017 we got a few, but what these clans did was some sneaky shit where they changed the health and they randomly kept calling more of their people, and this was like 2 clans we faced in 2017, and that was it. You know, they won and that was it. Wasn't really that great. 2018, can't really remember 2018 that well, but all I'm trying to say is as long as you're ahead of yourself, your gen is going to be fantastic. And as third cap, I'll try to help your gen as a whole. But by the end of this year, there's going to be a new higher rank in MVS. So right now in MVS, you got MVS member, you got MVS elite, you got MVS captain. In November, a matter of fact, in September of this year, there's going to be an MVS special task force. MVS will have its own task force. And by its 5th anniversary in January, I would say January 25th of 2020, MVS will have a commander rank, which is like general and MVP. Commander would be the highest rank in all of MVS. And I have to write down how to achieve that rank and what authority you have for that rank and stuff like that. So anyways, that was the broadcast, and see you all in the next clip. Cheesemo out.